Hi everyone, my name is Abhishek and I'm the founder of Blacklight Labs, and today I'll be sharing with you NiftyCrates, which is a project I recently did as an exploration into the future of loot boxes and microtransactions for gamers. So what is a loot box? As many of you are, I'm sure, aware, loot boxes are basically virtual treasure chests that contain undisclosed items that could be used by players in games. So you don't know what you'll get out of it until you open it, and then when you open it, you get some sort of item out of it that you can use in a game. Now this might be a skin for your player or your avatar. It might be a new weapon or a map that you can play on. So all sorts of great things come out of these loot boxes. So what's amazing about these loot boxes is that they've been around for a really long time. I mean, if you think of a simple Kinder Egg, you could say that is a loot box in a sense, or maybe a pack of baseball or Pokemon cards. So more recently in video games, there have been some studies that have shown that almost 78% of players that engage with video games use the loot boxes in the game that they play, and this has generated massive amounts of revenue for video game companies, over $3 billion in 2019. And this goes to pay the salaries of game developers and artists and content creators like myself. And every time I see the stats around these things, it's amazing, because what you find is players are spending on average over just about $20 a month on these kinds of microtransactions. So free to play game is free, but players pay $20 a month to play open loot boxes, which is kind of mind-blowing. So the bad parts of loot boxes, and many players will tell you this as well, that often it seems the pay-to-win nature of loot boxes can really mess up in-game economies and make players feel like that they have to pay to win in order to win in the game, and that there's no way to get further in the game without paying more and getting certain items or certain loot that allows you to progress. Another more subtle aspect of these loot boxes that are currently offered by most games are the odds are unverifiable. That most players can't actually look into the game somehow or rely on some sort of regulation that lets them know that, hey, this game actually has this item coming out of this loot box at this particular level of odds. In fact, most times the contents of a loot box are actually undisclosed. It is just sort of the only disclosure is that you'll get an item of some sort of rarity. So most players are not able to make great decisions on whether or not they want to open a loot box. And many really bad parts about loot boxes today are that a lot of them are designed in a predatory way, that sort of hyper target players based on their previous play, and release items in a manner that causes players to open the loot box more and more frequently. And what you see is that this actually leads to gambling addictions, gambling-like addictions that affect a lot of people, adults, not just adults, but also children. And what this has done in recent years is actually caused regulators to perk up and look at the video game industry and see how they might actually regulate it. And while some of you might think this is a good thing, in essence, we're asking people who know nothing about the gaming industry or video gaming to come in and create laws that basically govern what kind of games we can make. So this might actually be really bad. So what we decided to do was create a new project called NiftyCrates, which is a decentralized, fair and fun loot box for Ethereum, which is very popular blockchain. You can check out the project source code at that GitHub address, and on the side you can sort of see this little box that spins around, and you can see that it has a bunch of different items, and you can open these items. So the main features of a Nifty Crate are that you can buy a Nifty Crate for yourself and set it up, put your game items inside of it, all the game items that you've earned, and players can create their own loot boxes from the game items that they've earned, and then allow other players to open them. So that's really fun. And the real advantages of a Nifty Crate as opposed to a traditional loot box are that they are, for creators by creators. The idea is that you can build and trade your own loot boxes for fun and for profit, and that they're completely customizable. That you can set up the logic that is designed to open this crate by yourself using a smart contract deployed to the Ethereum network. Another big advantage is that players can always see what's inside, and this is very different from a lot of loot boxes that already exist, in that you know exactly what items are inside and what are the odds of hitting them. More importantly, the fact that these are deployed as Ethereum smart contracts mean that no regulator can sort of step in and sort of change the rules or force you to do something. It's your loot box. You decide what's going to happen with it. And then finally, if you're opening a specific loot box, since it's a common ledger and since it's a common record, you can be sure that all other players also have the exact same rules applied to them, and that you are not in some way targeted to get worse or better items than anybody else. It's the same treatment for everyone. So we're going to be launching this in beta on November 25th, and I would love for you to come join us to help us test it out, or even help develop new types of loot boxes that you think are fun and cool. And you can see there's my Telegram, my Twitter, GitHub, and email. Feel free to reach out to me over any of these channels, and I look forward to hearing from you. Thank you so much for listening to my presentation.